The studio lights blazed hot. The room was silent, cameras rolling, when Donald Trump leaned forward, his voice sharp like a knife. "You should be in prison, Obama. You betrayed this country." Gasps filled the live audience. Barack Obama, calm and steady, didn't flinch. He folded his hands, his eyes steady, almost sorrowful. His quietness made Trump's words sound even harsher, more reckless. Then came the sound. A loud cough from the audience. Someone whispered, "This has gone too far." The tension was like a storm building, thick and suffocating. Obama finally spoke, his voice low but strong. "Mr. Trump, I will not let you rewrite history with anger. The truth speaks louder than your insults." But before anyone could react, Representative Maxine Waters slowly stood up from her front row seat. Known for her fiery defense of justice, she locked eyes with Trump. Her face showed no fear. Her voice was sharp, cutting through the silence. "Donald Trump, if anyone belongs behind bars, it's you. And I have the receipts." The audience froze. What did she mean? Maxine Waters' words hung heavy in the air, louder than the cameras clicking around her. Trump's smug grin faltered for the first time. He tried to laugh it off, waving his hand. "Receipts? You've got nothing, Maxine." But Maxine didn't blink. She reached into her bag, the sound of paper sliding against leather echoing through the mic. The audience leaned forward, breaths held, hearts racing. Obama stayed silent, his face unreadable, but his eyes followed her every move. Trump shifted in his seat, his fingers drumming nervously against the table. That nervous tap was the first crack in his wall of confidence. Maxine lifted a thick folder. "This is not gossip. These are documents, testimonies, things you prayed would never see daylight. You talk about prison? Let's talk about your trail of lies and deals." The air was electric. One man in the back whispered, "This is history." Trump's face reddened, his voice shaky now. "This is fake news. It's all fake." But Maxine only leaned closer to the microphone, then let America decide, right here, right now. The audience erupted, torn between fear and anticipation. The host, clearly rattled, tried to cut in. We need to keep this civil." But it was too late. Maxine Waters opened the folder, her hands steady, her voice louder now. She read a single line. "Donald J. Trump, federal investigation into fraud, tax evasion, and obstruction of justice." The words hit like a hammer. Gasps, shouts, even muffled cries filled the studio. Cameras zoomed in on Trump's face, pale, trembling. His eyes darted toward the exit door. Obama finally moved, his voice calm yet piercing. "Donald, when you point fingers, remember how many point back at you." For a brief moment, Trump's mask slipped. His lips trembled. His hand gripped the table so tightly his knuckles turned white. For the first time, he looked less like a fighter, and more like a cornered man. Then, Maxine leaned closer, almost whispering, "Do you still want to talk about prison?" The silence that followed was unbearable. The audience didn't even breathe. And then a sound none expected. Trump's chair scraped loudly against the floor. Was he leaving, or about to explode? Trump stood halfway, his chair screeching across the floor. His chest heaved, his face red, sweat shining under the blinding lights. The audience shifted nervously, unsure if he was about to storm out or lash out. Obama raised a hand gently, not to silence, but to calm the storm. "Let him speak," he said softly. His composure was steady, fatherly, a sharp contrast to Trump's unraveling state. Trump jabbed a finger toward Maxine Waters. "You don't scare me. You've been after me for years. But you're nothing but noise." His voice cracked at the end, betraying his fear. Maxine, unfazed, closed the folder slowly. The sound of paper snapping shut, echoed louder than his shouting. She locked eyes with him. "You call it noise," she said coldly. "But America calls it evidence." The room went still. Even the cameramen stopped moving. The audience stared at Trump, waiting for his response. His hand trembled as he gripped the back of his chair. For the first time, the mighty Donald Trump looked like a man cornered, fighting shadows only he could see. And Maxine wasn't done. Maxine Waters turned to the host, her voice steady but sharp. "If this is live television, then let's not waste time. The people deserve the truth." The host looked panicked, shuffling his papers. We need clearance." "Clearance?" Maxine snapped. "Truth doesn't need clearance." Trump slammed his hand on the desk, the sound jolting everyone. "This is a witch hunt. Lies. Obama is behind this. He always has been." Obama finally leaned forward, his voice calm but piercing. "Donald, I'm not behind your mistakes. You are." A ripple of applause broke from the audience, not thunderous, but sharp, sincere. Trump's eyes widened, startled by the shift. His shoulders sagged for a moment. Just a moment, like the weight of his own words finally pressed down on him. Maxine's voice cut through the silence. "Do you want me to keep reading? Because what's in this folder won't just embarrass you. It will break you." Trump's mouth opened, but no words came. His lips trembled. For the first time, the crowd didn't just see a politician. They saw a man afraid. The atmosphere was suffocating. You could almost taste the tension, like metal in the air. The audience leaned forward, as if one wrong move might shatter the entire room. Trump forced a smirk, trying to regain control. "Maxine, you're bluffing. You always bluff." But his eyes betrayed him, darting, restless, searching for an escape. Maxine slowly reopened the folder, her fingers brushing over the crisp pages. The microphone picked up the faint rustle, a sound that felt louder than thunder. "Bluff?" she said softly. "Then let's read this one. A signed testimony from a former ally, someone who knew your deals, your secrets." Trump's face drained of color. "Who?" he barked. She didn't answer. Instead, she held up a single page, the black ink visible even from the back rows. The audience gasped, straining to see. Obama's eyes flickered with sadness, not triumph. His voice was heavy when he said, "Sometimes the truth doesn't destroy a man. It just reveals him." Trump's hand shook violently as he pointed at Maxine. "You release that, and I'll—" He froze. The words wouldn't come. His voice failed him, and everyone wondered, what was on that page? Maxine's eyes glinted under the studio lights as she slowly unfolded the page. The audience leaned in, the tension so thick it pressed against their chests. Trump's jaw tightened, his knuckles white against the table. The words were simple but devastating. Detailed accounts of shady deals, misused funds, and lies repeated to the public. Every line was a nail in his carefully built image. Trump swallowed hard, a tremor in his voice. This is fake. All fake." But Maxine's stare never wavered. "You tell that to the judges, Donald. But right here, right now, everyone sees the truth." Obama shifted in his chair, his expression calm, but his eyes betrayed a flicker of pain. He didn't relish this public humiliation. "Truth is heavy, Donald. Are you strong enough to carry it?" A nervous cough echoed from the audience. Some faces were pale, others wide-eyed. The cameras captured every micro-expression. Trump's confidence was crumbling in real time. Then, unexpectedly, Trump slammed the folder to the floor, papers scattered like leaves in a storm. "Enough!" he shouted, his voice raw, trembling. The room went silent. Maxine bent down, picking up the papers slowly, her lips curling into a tiny, unyielding smile. And then came a sound nobody expected. A single sharp click from the host's desk. Trump froze. The sound echoed like a gunshot. All eyes turned to the host, whose trembling hand held a small, blinking recorder. Maxine glanced at it. "Ah," she said softly, her tone almost teasing. "Looks like someone else wants to join the conversation." Obama's calm demeanor never broke, but his eyes narrowed, sharp and precise. "Donald, sometimes silence isn't a choice. It's your only option." The recorder clicked again. A voice emerged, unmistakable, cold, yet firm. A recording of Trump's own words admitting schemes no one had seen before. The audience gasped collectively. Some clutched their chests. Trump's face drained of color. He opened his mouth to speak, but no sound came. The trembling in his hands grew. Maxine leaned closer, her voice low but deadly clear. "Donald, every lie, every betrayal, it's all here. Do you want to explain it to the American people?" Obama's eyes softened. He wasn't mocking. He was holding space for truth to rise. "You built walls around yourself, Donald, and now the walls are breaking." The room felt like it was suspended in time, waiting for the storm to hit. And then, a single bead of sweat slid down Trump's temple. Trump's mind raced. Every escape route vanished under the glaring studio lights. His bravado was gone. The man who once shouted over crowds now sat paralyzed, trapped in his own web. Maxine slowly set the folder down, the crisp sound punctuating the silence. "Do you want to continue?" she asked, voice soft but merciless. Trump's eyes darted to the exit. For a heartbeat, hope flickered. But the doors were blocked by security, live cameras, and the unblinking eyes of millions watching at home. Obama's voice cut through the tension, like sunlight breaking storm clouds. "Donald, it's never too late to do the right thing, but denial won't save you. Only accountability can." Trump swallowed, his chest heaving. A sudden tremor of fear, raw and visceral, overtook him. He looked at the recorder, then at the folder, then at Maxine. A low, shaky laugh escaped him, a sound of disbelief, frustration, and panic all tangled together. This can't be happening." Maxine's eyes narrowed, sharp and unwavering. "It is, and America is watching." The studio lights seemed to dim, the audience holding its collective breath. And just as Trump opened his mouth, ready to speak, a loud knock came from the back, one that no one saw coming. The knock reverberated through the studio like a thunderclap. Every head turned, cameras swiveling. Trump's face twisted, fear mingling with confusion. The doors opened slowly. A uniformed federal agent stepped in, calm but firm, carrying an envelope marked urgent. The audience gasped, whispers erupted. Maxine's eyes flickered with satisfaction. "Ah, the timing," she murmured. Trump's jaw dropped. His hands shook violently as he stared at the agent. What is this?" The agent didn't answer. Instead, he handed the envelope to Maxine. She opened it with deliberate slowness, pulling out documents stamped with official seals, signed and dated. Obama leaned back, voice quiet but commanding. "Donald, the moment you've been running from has arrived." Trump's bravado faltered entirely. His lips quivered as he tried to speak, but words refused to form. For a brief moment, the man who commanded rallies seemed smaller than a child caught in a storm. Maxine held up the papers. "This confirms everything. Fraud, tax evasion, obstruction. Every accusation, verified." The audience couldn't breathe. Even the cameras seemed frozen, capturing the collapse of a man who once seemed untouchable. Trump's face paled, sweat pouring down his temples. He looked at Obama, then Maxine. This isn't real," he whispered. Maxine's voice cut through the silence, calm but lethal. It is real, Donald, and America will know the truth. Trump's hand trembled as he tried to reach for the folder, but Maxine's gaze pinned him in place. Obama's expression softened, almost compassionate. You had power, Donald. You could have used it wisely. Now all you have is choice and accountability. A shiver ran through the audience. Even the crew felt it, a moment frozen between fear and awe. Trump's chest rose and fell rapidly. His confidence, once so loud, had evaporated entirely. Then, unexpectedly, he leaned forward, a strange glimmer in his eyes. His voice cracked but had a strange intensity. You think this breaks me? You think the world sees me this way? I will fight back. Maxine raised an eyebrow. Fight? Or crumble further? Trump's words died as the agent stepped closer, his presence undeniable. Every camera caught the tension. The man who once shouted from stages was now silent, confronted by evidence, law, and truth. Obama's voice remained calm. Donald, history will remember what you do now, not what you've said. The audience watched, frozen. And then, outside the studio, the faint sound of sirens began to rise. Trump's eyes widened. Sirens, real, approaching, relentless. Panic surged. He looked around, realizing the walls of protection he had relied on had vanished. Maxine didn't flinch. They're here, Donald, and there's nowhere to hide. Obama leaned forward slightly, voice quiet, but filled with weight. Donald, this moment doesn't just belong to politics. It belongs to truth and justice. The cameras captured every bead of sweat, every tremor in Trump's hands, every flicker of fear in his eyes. Even the audience couldn't tear their eyes away. Then a sudden twist. A staffer whispered something in Maxine's ear. She looked up, shock flickering across her face. Something unexpected had arrived with the agent. Something that could change the course of the night entirely. Trump's breathing hitched. He sensed it before anyone else did. What now? He stammered, voice barely audible. Maxine's lips curved into a slow, knowing smile. Donald, this isn't just evidence anymore. There's a witness, one who will make sure the world never forgets. A tense silence fell over the studio. The lights seemed to dim. Every eye, every camera, every heart waited. And the witness stepped forward, a figure nobody expected. The witness stepped forward, tall, composed, and unmistakably familiar. The audience gasped. Trump froze, his mouth opening, closing, searching for words. It was one of his closest former allies, someone whose loyalty had been taken for granted, whose silence had been bought with promises. Now that ally's eyes were cold, unyielding. Maxine held the folder higher, her voice steady. Donald, meet someone who knows everything you hoped would remain hidden. Trump's hands trembled. You can't. Obama's calm voice cut through, firm but kind. Donald, the truth isn't cruel. It's just waiting. And now, it has a voice. The former ally stepped closer to the camera, holding a single document and a phone. These are the texts, the recordings, the deals, everything, and I'm turning them over tonight. The studio went silent. The sound of someone's heartbeat felt louder than any shouting. Trump's confidence was gone, replaced by raw panic. He looked to the exit, then back at the cameras, realizing escape was impossible. His empire of words, bravado, and manipulation had no walls left to hide behind. Maxine whispered almost kindly, Donald, it's over. Time to face the consequences. And the audience held its breath, waiting for the collapse of a man who had always seemed untouchable. Trump's face paled under the studio lights. The allies' phone buzzed, displaying damning messages, promises broken, lies revealed, deals exposed. Every word hit like a hammer. He tried to speak, voice trembling. You'll regret this. Everyone will. Obama interrupted softly, almost sadly. Donald, no one wins by hiding the truth. It's never too late to choose accountability. The ally's voice was calm, unwavering. I've waited too long for honesty. Tonight, it finally matters. Maxine leaned forward, voice cutting through the tension. Donald, the time for shouting is over. America is watching, and history won't be kind if you keep running from reality. Trump's hands gripped the desk. His breathing was loud, uneven. Sweat dripped from his temples. For the first time, the man who once dominated headlines felt powerless. Then, an unexpected twist. Trump's phone buzzed with a live feed from another ally, seemingly loyal, but with a cryptic message. Think you've lost? Watch closely. The audience murmured nervously. Even Obama's calm gaze flickered with awareness. Something unpredictable was about to happen. Trump swallowed hard, heart racing. Every second now counted. The cryptic message flashed again, more urgent this time. Trump's eyes widened. No, it can't be. Maxine tilted her head, intrigued but cautious. Donald, what are you waiting for? Confession or delusion? The former ally stepped forward, phone in hand. Everything you thought was hidden is out. The recordings, the documents, all live, all undeniable. Trump's bravado shattered. He stumbled back, chair scraping the floor, eyes darting between cameras, Maxine, Obama, and the audience. His empire of lies was crumbling before millions of viewers. Then, in a sudden emotional shift, he dropped his head, whispering almost to himself, I never thought it would end like this. Obama's voice softened, carrying both authority and empathy. Donald, endings are only harsh if we fail to face them. Courage is doing what's right, even when it's hard. The studio held its collective breath. Cameras captured every micro-expression, every twitch of panic, every flicker of despair, and then a loud knock from outside the studio. This time it wasn't subtle. It shook the doors. Maxine and Obama exchanged a glance. The audience shivered. Something, or someone, had arrived that could change everything yet again. The knock on the studio doors echoed like a warning. Security hesitated, then opened slowly. A high-ranking FBI official stepped in, holding a sealed envelope, the kind that commands instant attention. Trump's eyes widened, panic rising like a tidal wave. Maxine Waters' lips curved into a knowing smile, her calm authority unshaken. Obama remained composed, but his gaze sharpened. The storm was reaching its peak. The official handed the envelope to Maxine, who opened it carefully. Inside were final irrefutable documents detailing years of fraud, obstruction, and lies, undeniable proof of Trump's wrongdoing. Trump stumbled back, a man stripped bare before the world. This is impossible, he whispered, voice quivering. Obama leaned forward, voice calm, powerful. Donald, the moment of reckoning isn't cruel. It's necessary. Truth has always been stronger than fear. Trump's hands shook, the reality crashing down like a wave. He looked at Maxine, at the cameras, at Obama, and finally at the audience, the full weight of accountability reflected in every eye. And then, unexpectedly, he slumped into his chair, a defeated man. Silence filled the room. The audience held their breath. The cameras rolled, and the nation watched history unfold live. Maxine's voice cut through the tension. Donald J. Trump, the evidence is clear. The people deserve justice. Trump's head hung low, sweat dripping down his face. He opened his mouth, trying to speak, but no words emerged. Fear, disbelief, and regret warred across his expression. Obama stood, placing a gentle hand on Maxine's shoulder. This isn't about humiliation. It's about accountability, and about letting truth shine. The audience erupted in murmurs and whispers. Cameras captured every flicker of emotion. Trump's trembling, Maxine's resolute composure, Obama's calm authority. Then, in an unexpected twist, Trump spoke softly, almost humanly. I was wrong. A gasp echoed. No grand speech, no excuses. Just raw, undeniable admission. It was a sound the world rarely heard from him. Vulnerability, stripped bare. Maxine nodded, satisfied but firm. It's time to face the consequences, Donald. The nation is watching, and history will remember. And in that moment, the gravity of truth and justice settled over the studio like a heavy, cleansing rain. The final moments were tense, almost unbearable. Trump's phone rang. A last attempt at influence, a final gasp of control, but he ignored it. Silence reigned, broken only by the soft shuffling of papers. Obama's calm voice filled the room. History isn't about power. It's about integrity. It's about courage. Trump looked up, defeated, eyes hollow. He nodded slightly, as if acknowledging the inevitable. Maxine's gaze remained sharp, ensuring the weight of accountability sank deep. The cameras zoomed in, capturing the humanity of the moment. A man stripped of pretense, facing undeniable truth. The audience live at home felt it too. A mixture of shock, relief, and emotional release. Then, the studio lights dimmed, signaling the end of the broadcast. Yet the impact lingered, hearts racing, tears flowing, and minds forever marked by the confrontation. Obama turned to the cameras, voice steady, sincere. Truth always finds a way. Courage isn't easy, but it's worth everything. The screen faded to black, leaving viewers with one thought. Justice, accountability, and integrity always prevail. But the world watches, ready to remember. If this story moved you, if you felt every heartbeat in that studio, please like, comment your reaction, and subscribe. Share your thoughts. Did you expect the twist? Who shocked you the most? Let's keep this story alive together.